Namaste. I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity given by Veranda Club, and I must say I've been finding Rajesh ji's writings very enjoyable and enriching. I enjoy being with children, and I also love telling them stories which will impart values. And in this, it takes them into our culture, into our heritage, and makes them realize all the stories of yore through our Puranas, the Upanishads, and the great epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Storytelling, which we had with our grandparents, is slowly gaining momentum, but at the same time, the video, the WhatsApp and media is taking over, which proves to be very detrimental and debilitating. It is a matter of concern, and at the same time, I'm in awe of the questions that the children come up with when they listen to stories. The values are not forcefully drilled into them, neither is it a rigid platform, but they imbibe by listening and analyzing for themselves. And in the path of storytelling, I realize that there are many children who want to tread the path of dharma. They want to take to good values and make their life more meaningful. I do believe learning is never ending, and learning can happen with any child, any adult. I've been very grateful for the good fortune in Coimbatore, meeting very good people, meeting great people who are on the path of realizing what is the purpose of life. And this was like a U-turn. What is each one's purpose in life is very important. When I say purpose, I don't mean the career path of just an ambition, a goal to earn wealth, to make a livelihood, but it also involves how you can make your life meaningful. Do we have that bend of mind to even try to know who our maker is? Do we take time off to connect to our inner self, to our conscience, and try to know ourselves? In this, it reminds me of my Guruji's words, the conscience is very much a part of all that we do. It completely exposes our hypocrisy, highlights our pride, exposes our traits of jealousy, and rips open oneself to oneself. In fact, most of us grow up in our academic years with complete focus on our academics and a few extracurricular activities, but then we only focus on how can we get into a good job, an IT job or something which will have a wonderful pay packet. But that wealth, that artha, is not the only goal of life. In fact, there are three kinds of wealth. The Laukika wealth, which is supposed to be the material wealth or the worldly wealth. And then you have the Daivika wealth, which involves indulging with the wealth that you have for the good of somebody, to help the poor. They say you may not be able to build a hospital, a temple, a school, an ashram, but even if you were to partake in the course of the building, in the act of making the ashram, or in the partake in pooling in some resources for the making of a great social cause, it really makes up for a Daivika wealth. And when you can transfer or move this Laukika Buddhi to making a Daivika action, it really makes a big difference. Otherwise, it's an Asuric wealth, which is demonic wealth, and that would only make you indulge with the wealth that you have and the pleasures in Maya, and you are completely lost where you do not know yourself. In fact, it reminds me of Ramana Maharshi, who says, Vanna vidadeda, don't lose yourself. Very important. And unless we are able to connect with mindfulness and go back at the end of the day to an audit of our own self, reflect on the happenings of the whole day, think of and ponder over the wrong that we did we hurt somebody, and then trying to completely change, to make a positive change, to become a more sattvic person. And this will not only help us gain a balance in life, it helps us face with equanimity. In fact, the punya karma which we gain or we gather determines pretty much the kind of life we will be going into in the next birth, or the kind of species, the environment, the parents, and all this is only going to help you for the future. It reminds me of Suta Maharishi, who says, Jivasya Tattva Jignyasa. The essence should be being curious and desirous of knowing what is the purpose of my life. And for that, you need Chittasya Shuddhi. You need purity of mind. And it can come through meditation, it can come through calmness, satsang, so many ways in which you develop this. But unless there is an innate need, an innate urge, we cannot progress along the line of seeking the Brahman, seeking the reality, the truth of life. I would like to conclude with a story. There lived in a village a man with his family. He and his son would sit in the veranda, and often every body that was going to the cemetery, the burial ground, had to pass through their house. And every time a body passed by and the procession followed, the father would look at the son and ask him, will the person go to heaven, moksham, or will he go to Naragam? And the son would slowly slip into the crowd, make his way, and come back and conclude with his statement of whether it would be moksham or Naragam. And every time this happened, there was a sannyasi who was noticing the little boy's wisdom. After a few days, when the next funeral procession came, the sannyasi waited, and after they had gone by, he went across, prostrated before the little boy. Please don't do this, he said to the Swami. Why are you prostrating before me? And he said, no, I have been noticing your wisdom at such a young age, when people are struggling to know what their future might be. How do you predict whether the person goes to Naragam or attains moksham? So he said, oh, that is very simple. What I do is I walk into the crowd, listen to the comments and all that the people talk, and when they say, oh, we lost a good soul, I know he will attain moksham. And if they say, thank God the person has left, then I know he has to go to Naragam. And the sannyasi listened. But we have a great lesson in this. This human life is a great gift to each of us. And how we value it and make use of every moment depends on each one of us. Thank you.